So the bill pay offered by most business banks, it is rough, like designed in the Cold War era and takes 2 weeks for a payment to arrive. But today, man, this is nice bill pay that is just chef's kiss. With today's sponsor, Ramp, it's a demo day. Ramp, the spend management platform that does honestly a whole bunch of handy things, but let's hop right into it. Here's the inbox where I collect bills for processing. A whole bunch of ways I can get bills into here. I can upload them directly, create them in batch via a spreadsheet. Wow, nerd alert. Even import unpaid bills directly from your ERP. But the best way to get bills into any bill pay system altogether now,
email airplanes.
What? Email. The workflow I actually recommend here is you create an alias at your company's domain. So bills@yourcompany.com. Use that email address with all of your vendors and then set that alias to auto forward to your bill processing inbox, your Ramp address here, so that the moment a vendor drops a new bill, it gets pushed into Ramp. Which, by the way, Ramp's bill pay, if you're already using Ramp for spend management, as I am, there it is. Look at me eating the dog food that I'm shilling. Really get in there. You're gonna need to pixelate this. I digress. But if you're already using Ramp for spend management, bill pay is like, it's like 4 paces down here. And how nice is that? You're not having to pull in some other tool just to pay bills, having to log into Spendaroo every day, get the team access to some other system, or not having to fuss with that crusty old bill pay from First East West National. Man, when all-in-one works, it is nice. But okay, let's actually hop in and process a bill. Here it is. It's as simple as processing new bills in the drafts tab, getting them approved, and then getting them paid. Let's hop into an actual bill though. You got the bill on the left and we'll work through all the steps that are on the right. First, it'll provide a whole bunch of context around the most recent bills for this vendor. Is this bill a duplicate? Is this bill actually a statement? Most of the errors that I see in bill pay, it's actually from the bill creation step when something's getting doubled up. Not necessarily an invoice, but they're sending like a statement that looks like an invoice. That's the idea here, is ensuring that there's no overlap. Now, it's determined the vendor automatically. Anywhere you see these lightning bolts, Ramp has auto-extracted those details. So if I scroll down, you see here, invoice number, invoice date, due date. It actually inferred the due date just from the invoice date and the terms that it could find, 45 days. The invoice itself didn't provide a due date. That's some tippy-top mathing. There's a flag here that it's a duplicate invoice number. We're not actually paying a bill right now, but I can actually change that invoice number. And when I do, you'll see that lightning bolt disappeared because we replaced the extracted item. Okay, line items in your invoice. This invoice is a big boy, and it actually just pulled over 50 items over to the right-hand side here. And if I don't actually want all that detail, I can just click this guy and collapse all that. And there's basically 2 ways that Ramp sets these classifications. One, you can set a default for a vendor to say it should always be a specific thing whenever you see this vendor. And by the way, you can actually set that just on the fields that you want to push through. In the accounting integration, you identify these are the fields that I actually want to pull into Ramp. But the second way Ramp sets classifications is simply based on what the invoice says and how you've classified similar items in the past. So over time, as you're having to code the one-offs, it's gonna get smarter and code that thing better for you next time. Now, at the bottom here, payments. You can set this up now or later at the time of payment. Payment methods you would expect: ACH, check, wire, card. Payments can come direct out of your own bank account, so they don't have to come out of a funded account. But if you want to, you can actually use a funded Ramp account to do free same-day ACH. That's right, they got those fast wagons. I'm gonna schedule by arrival date. This is showing 5 days, but it's because it's a test account. Usually this comes down to something more like 2 business days once you've made a few payments. Last step, we review everything in here, make sure it looks correct, and it'll show the approval workflow that's being applied to the bill. So I'm gonna say create bill, and I'll show you in the approval section how approval rules can be customized. You've got this multi-step, like if it meets these conditions. On the right-hand side here, you can test the rules with recent bills or new sample bills. You can even pull fields from the accounting integration into this logic. Then based on those sort of combination of conditions, you can even require specific fields to be completed in the bill entry process. So even the required fields can be set dynamically based on these conditions. Very cool. One other kind of extra approval step they do down here on the right, optionally, you can even set up an additional approval just for payment release. If a member of your team or if the client themselves needs to be kind of the last one to hit go and authorize all the payments. So let's go ahead and actually do that. Last, over here on the payments tab, we're going to release bills for payment. Here we see some other bills that have been paid, but I'm gonna click these guys right here, these bills that are ready for payment. Hit review payments, and now, if I hadn't already scheduled those bills in the previous step, then here I choose when I want those payments to release, either today or at a future date. Come down here, hit release payments, and now we can see those bills we just selected are in a scheduled state. Now, very important if you're an accountant like me, how does this push to my accounting software? Well, any updates made on a bill are immediately pushed to the accounting system, like right away. And interestingly, you can customize when Ramp posts bills to your accounting software, either when they're created in Ramp or after they're approved. And it's just worth calling out, there's some super deep customization options here. I mentioned earlier, you can customize what fields are synced and which fields are not. Some of the more advanced integration options here are part of Ramp's Plus plan. The free plan does get you a really long ways. I tell people if you haven't used Ramp before, just get started with the free version. You'll be surprised how far it can get you. But with Plus, you get some killer stuff like, honestly, my favorite, auto locking cards. Card locks when they haven't given you the information that you need after a certain number of days. And as you know, accountants, man, we are just like professional hasslers. Auto locking cards, genuinely the best way I've seen to get folks to submit the goods to you, so that when you rock up to do the month-end close, you've got everything that you need to get that work done. That's probably my favorite Plus feature, but if you haven't used Ramp before, the free plan's a great way to kick the tires. Now that's Ramp's Bill Pay, a lovely extension of the super handy things Ramp already does to manage spend in your org. Thank you to Ramp for sponsoring this one. Head over to ramp.com/Jason if you're just getting started with Ramp. And this has been a demo day where we explore cool tech that's helpful for accounting firms. Take a look at this little guy up here. This is a playlist of a whole bunch of really cool tech that's about to make you wildly productive. That's the goal anyway.